dear all, and welcome to this video. I'm Little James from the World Funnel channel, and in this channel we talk about the realm of the digital economy and financial education. You're welcome to the Cryptocurrency Minute. In this series of videos, we are going to explain in a simple and interactive manner all you need to know about cryptocurrencies and all the tremendous advantages they can bring to you. Now, in this first video of the series, we are going to define cryptocurrencies. We are going to talk about the advantages and the inconvenience, or the pros and cons of cryptocurrencies. We're going to talk about different types of cryptocurrencies, and we are going to have an overview of where cryptocurrencies are kept. So, to start, I think it's important we talk a little bit about the evolution of money. You know, money, like any other concept the world has known, is not static. It has been constantly improving with the years and constantly trying to fix or to solve problems that previous forms had. It all started with what we called trade and barter, where commodities were used as a means of exchange for goods and services. Like you can see on the image, let's say you had a bag of apples and you needed a fowl. What you had to do was to simply exchange your bag of apples for a fowl. After that, viewing the so many limitations of the barter system, we started using metals like gold, silver, copper, nickel, and many more, which were advantageous because they were easily handled and their quantities could easily and readily be ascertained as compared to what was done with the barter system. After the gold, we started using metal coins, which were more portable and more divisible. We later came to what we call paper money, and the invention of banknotes marked a very important stage in the development of money. A very important stage. Why do we say that? It is at this level that money lost its intrinsic value. Take a look. When we were using gold or metal coins, they both had an intrinsic value because it was actual gold, it was actual silver, or even the metal coins were made out of actual gold and actual silver. But with the banknotes, what happens was that you take your gold to a bank, you deposit your gold, your physical gold in a bank, and you are given a piece of paper which proves or which can enable somebody you're dealing with to acknowledge the fact that you have the same amount or you have a given amount of gold in the bank. So what gives the paper its value? It's not the paper itself, but the confidence that the person you're giving the paper to for a good or a service has on the fact that you can actually or he can actually get to the bank with that paper and collect the corresponding quantity in gold, which will be actually intrinsic, or he in his turn can change that paper for goods or services. After the paper money, we got what we generally call plastic money, plastic cards, MasterCard, Visa, Maestro, and all the like. So here we have a big evolution, which is a dematerialization of money. With these plastic cards, no need again to work with actual money, and it's more readily transferred because it is more portable. Instead of working with lots of banknotes, you can just work with your MasterCard or your Visa card, which contains all your money. And for the two reasons, or for the two uh, concepts seen above, we realize that the plastic cards are more secure, because even if it happens that somebody robs off your plastic card, your bank card, if he doesn't have your PIN, he won't have access to your money. Now, after the plastic cards, we got what we call e-money, electronic money, where money is not only dematerialized but equally digitalized. Here, there is no physical medium that you use to manage your money. You manage your money using a computer network. You connect through a terminal. It might be your smartphone, it might be your desktop, it might be your laptop, and you access or you manage your money using this device via a computer network. We have many examples: PayPal, Skrill, MTN Mobile Money, Orange Money, and so on and so forth. At this level, we are still in the era of the electronic money, but everything shows that we are entering in the cryptocurrency era. It's very important that each and everyone gets this right at this point, because you should not be left over. Everything is called to evolve, and whether we want it or not, money has evolved, money will evolve, and we are entering, or we have started entering, the era of cryptocurrency. Now, I would like to draw your attention to something very critical here. With all the previous forms of money we have seen so far, gold, metallic coins, paper money, plastic cards, electronic money, the one thing in common they have is the fact that they are always in one way or the other linked or directly centralized to what we call banks. You use your MTN mobile money on your phone, yes, but at one level, every transaction reaches the bank, and it's the bank that will validate or invalidate and verify each transaction you do before the transaction goes through. In other words, the bank can decide to block you or to prevent you from using your own money. So the money you own, if you use it or if you put it in a bank, you might be at one point blocked from using or prevented from using this money. And it's the same for all the other forms of money we had. All of them are centralized, and it's the bank which decides on the verification and validation of every transaction. Now, cryptocurrency has that advantage of being digital and decentralized. Just as we had the barter system, which was peer to peer or person to person, where you did not need to have the services of a central agency, the bank in this case, to manage your money. Cryptocurrency functions in the same way. It's a virtual currency and totally decentralized, which means that you don't need to pass through a bank to send money from one place to another. If you have somebody, let's say in Nigeria, you're in Cameroon, you have somebody in Nigeria who needs money, you won't need to pass by any bank. You will send him the money person to person via the blockchain technology that most cryptocurrencies use. So we define a cryptocurrency as a digital or virtual currency that is secured by cryptography. We equally say that many cryptocurrencies are decentralized networks based on blockchain technology, which is a distributed ledger enforced by a disparate network of computers. We're going to come back in the next video, we'll talk more about the blockchain technology, which is like the founding or the foundation of all cryptocurrencies, because all cryptocurrencies are powered by the blockchain technology. Now, what I want us to remember or to keep as keywords in this definition is virtual and decentralized. So each time you hear about cryptocurrency, just remember it's a virtual currency and it's totally decentralized, because in the previous systems, your money belongs to you, yes, but the bank is the one managing your money. Nothing can be done without verification and validation by the bank. But with cryptocurrencies, it's peer to peer. You don't need the bank, you don't need an intermediary. You manage your money as you want, when you want, from where you want. Now, we can talk about the advantages of cryptocurrency. We start with decentralization, which is, to make it simple, a very tremendous evolution in the world of money, because here you don't need, as I said earlier, you don't need to limit yourself, or you are not subject to limitations your bank can impose on your personal money. With cryptocurrency, you will never be told that no, this amount you can't send it. You will never be told no, you can't send money to this country. You will never be told no, you can't withdraw this amount. In fact, all the limitations which are created due to the fact that banks have their policies, their working policies, their internal policies, all these limitations are broken with cryptocurrencies. You can send the amount of money you want, to who you want, when you want, from where you want. Another advantage is the financial inclusion cryptocurrency brings. It's not easy for the Lambda citizen to access financial products. You just need to see, when you want to create a bank account, there's a real big form you have to fill. There's so much information you have to give. In fact, it's not everybody who finds or who can access the financial services banks are offering. Whereas with these cryptocurrencies, you don't need something more than your phone, a smartphone, and an internet connection to create your cryptocurrency account. It's as simple as that. Now, we have equally fast and easy payments. Here with cryptocurrencies, you can pay really fast and easily. Let's say you want to send 10 million naira or 10 million francs, I don't know, or 10 million cedis to somebody who is abroad or who is many kilometers away from you. With cryptocurrency, you can do that in a few clicks, and your person or the person you're sending money to will receive it in less than no time. It's a matter of seconds, maximum minutes for the person to receive the money. So it's fast and easy. We equally have the transparency. Cryptocurrencies are transparent because here the transactions are available. All the history of transactions are available and can be visited, can be seen by whosoever is in the blockchain network. We equally have low transaction fees. You can send tremendous amounts of money at nearly, I can say, free of charge, because the fees are really insignificant. We equally have better security, and here I can emphasize on the fact that the security is mostly due to the decentralization, because the way banks work, if a hacker succeeds in intruding in the central database of a bank, due to the centralization, he can easily have access to all the information. Whereas on the blockchain network, the database is decentralized. So to hack or to intrude into such a system, you would have to hack simultaneously thousands of computers, which is very difficult. I can say impossible. Now, as another advantage, we have the growing acceptance and usage because, as we said earlier, money is based on trust. When you give a banknote of 10,000 francs CFA to somebody, he takes the banknote because he trusts that that banknote can be either used for exchange for goods and services or brought to a central unit like a bank where he can get value from it. Now, cryptocurrencies are gaining acceptance and usage. Nowadays, we are seeing many countries. We have the example of Salvador, we have the example of China, of Ghana. In fact, many countries are even going further by creating an electronic version, a virtualized version of their home currencies. Many other countries are accepting payments through cryptocurrencies in big banks, in big companies, and all the like. So it's an advantage because it lets us understand that effectively we are already in the cryptocurrency era as long as the evolution of money is concerned. Now, another advantage is the anonymity. It's true cryptocurrencies are transparent, or transactions done with cryptocurrencies are transparent, but they are equally anonymous. So you can see which, let me call it like that, which bank crypto wallet account, not bank, sorry, which cryptocurrency wallet or address has done which transaction, but you won't be able to identify the owner, the actual owner of that wallet or of that address. Now, we should talk equally about some disadvantages of cryptocurrency because it's not just advantageous, it equally has some minor disadvantages, which I call minor because, as you're going to see, disadvantages are really tremendous compared to its disadvantages. The first disadvantage we have is the volatility. You know, cryptocurrencies are subject to the laws of demand and supply. So the higher the demand, the higher the demand, the higher the cost, the lower the demand, the lower the cost. So that's what makes a disadvantage of cryptocurrencies, its volatility. The prices might go high, might go low. The prices are not stable. It's true that to kind of fix this problem, there's a category of cryptocurrencies that we call stable coins that have been created, but in a general manner, all cryptocurrencies face this issue of volatility. We equally have this issue of funding of illegal activities due to the anonymity of transactions in cryptocurrencies. Many fraudsters can use cryptocurrencies to fund their illegal activities without being afraid or without bearing the risk of being traced back. So that's an advantage, another disadvantage, sorry, of cryptocurrencies. But as I said earlier, the numerous advantages totally outpass the few disadvantages. Now we're going to talk about types of cryptocurrencies, but before we go in there, just have a look at this screen capture. Actually, we have 11,119 different cryptocurrencies. Wow. From 2009, where we had the Bitcoin, the mother of cryptocurrencies, to 2021, where we have 11,119 different cryptocurrencies, which are separated in two basic categories. We have the coins, which are simply cryptocurrencies based on their own standalone blockchains and are primarily used as a medium for digital payments. We have examples of coins like Bitcoin, which is the mother of all cryptocurrencies. We have Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, Cardano, IOTA, and many other coins. Here, I would equally like to emphasize on the fact that these types or this categorization is the most basic, because you certainly come across many other types of cryptocurrencies, stable coins, altcoins, shitcoins. In fact, all of them in one way or the other will always fit in either coin or token. So token is the second category of cryptocurrencies which do not have their blockchain and live on existing ones. For example, if a token is being created on the Bitcoin blockchain, it cannot be used on another blockchain apart from the blockchain on which it was created. And we say most tokens are used to execute smart contracts, raise funds for crowd sales, or as rewards. Don't worry, we are going to come back in the next video and explain more about stable coins, shitcoins, and all the like, and equally about smart contracts. It will be the, how can I say, the topic for one of our next videos. Now, we have seen about the types of cryptocurrencies. Where are cryptocurrencies stored? Unlike our fiduciary issue, our banknotes and all, cryptocurrencies are not stored in physical pocket wallets. They are stored in software programs that hold the unique address of your digital currency. They not only store your cryptocurrency but also transact them using blockchain transactions. So what we say here is that cryptocurrencies are stored in software programs that we generally call wallets. And these wallets contain the unique address of your digital currency, just as you have a bank account, which is a unique number attributed to you by your bank where your money is held. In the cryptocurrency ecosystem, you equally have a unique address which can be considered as your cryptocurrency account, where you how can I say it, where all the transactions of the blockchain, or where all the transactions that you do, the verifications, validations, and all the like, are stored, but equally where your digital assets or your cryptocurrency are stored. We are going to get into this more detailedly when we are going to see a practical example of a wallet. Now, we should talk equally about type of cryptocurrency wallets, because there are many of them. We have the mobile wallets, which are simply apps you install in your smartphone. We have the desktop wallets, which are apps you install on your desktop computers, either Mac or PC. You have paper wallets, which, as the name shows, is just a piece of paper or a book where you write your cryptocurrency wallet address and all other information pertaining to that. We have web wallets, which are wallets you access through a browser, either on your phone or on a desktop or laptop computer. And we equally have hardware wallets, which are physical devices, generally USB devices, where all your crypto assets information are stored. Now, with the technology advance, we have many wallets which can fit into two or even more of these categories. Let's take the case of the well-known Trust wallet, which will be the wallet we will mostly work on in our practical training sessions, sorry. You can have the Trust wallet through mobile app. You can go to the Play Store or to the App Store and download Trust Wallet into your device, into your smartphone. or you can access Trust Wallet through the browser of your mobile phone or of your computer without needing to install it. So that's all about types of cryptocurrency wallets. Now let's have a quick review. In this presentation, we talked about the evolution of money from barter to cryptos, and you understood, or in fact, we understood here that we are evolving and we are actually living an era where money is being dematerialized, digitalized, and decentralized. It's just as if we're going back, if you look at it critically, we're going back to the barter system which was decentralized, but adding to that all the technology improvements we have had through the centuries. So with the cryptocurrencies, no more centralization, no more bank. It's the money for the people, by the people. Now, we equally saw what cryptocurrency is all about. The keywords, the digital and decentralized. Cryptocurrencies are digital assets which work in a decentralized manner. Now, we saw the advantages, the various advantages and the disadvantages of cryptocurrencies. We talked about the two big categories of cryptocurrencies, which are the coins, which possess their own blockchains, and the tokens, which use the blockchains of the coins. Then we explained where cryptocurrencies are stored. Now, in our next video, we will be decomposing or explaining in a precise and detailed way, but very simple, easy to explain, easy to understand, what the blockchain technology is all about, and we will talk about the mother of all cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin. Thank you for listening. We hope to be with you in our next presentation, and to keep updated and to miss no video from this wonderful series we are preparing, or we have been preparing for you, please subscribe and click on the notification bell so that as soon as we upload the video, you are alerted. Now, like, thumbs up, encourage us. If you like the video, please don't hesitate, give us a thumb. Equally, share to a maximum of people. Share in your groups, share anywhere you can. Share so that maximum amount of people can learn about this wonderful technology and learn how to make the most out of it. Because yes, in this channel we are equally going to tell you how you can make some money or make some residual income by investing wisely in cryptocurrencies. So thank you very much, and we hope to be with you next time. See you.